this one is on fingers and their positioning. I did a video before on palms rotating down, so we'll get a little bit more in depth into the finger position. So the ideal position is to have your knuckles facing each other, your thumbs on the top, and each finger stacked one on top of the other. And then your hands, they don't have to be trapped in this little box, depending on the horse you're riding, depending on the level of education that horse has. Your hands may need to move away from each other a little bit higher, a little bit lower. We definitely don't want to be doing like what I call milking the cow or seesawing. All of those things are super illegal. You can go right to jail for those. So your hands, you want to close your fingers so that you feel each of your fingers in your palm, and your thumb makes a soft little roof. Now this is hard for a lot of people, and this one is one of my biggest hang-ups, is to let your fingers be open. And there's a misconception that your open fingers are going to be softer. But let me show you how your open fingers are actually not softer, and how closed fingers are softer. So if I pick up my reins here, and I hold, so you want your pinky underneath the rein. Each finger makes contact with each other, and then your thumb makes a little roof on the top. Okay, so if I need to half halt from this position where my fingers are closed but not, not gripping. Gripping is going to immediately tense up my seat and my forearm, and you can even probably, if you pay attention, hear my voice change when I grip my fingers. It makes me very prone to pulling the hand against the chest, which is going to make most horses resist. So if the hand comes against the chest, the horse is going to pull into that, or at the very least be uncomfortable. So my fingers are touching each other, pinky underneath the rein, thumb on the top, and then all I have to do to half halt is bring my elbow into a dropped position. Maybe I can turn to the side so you can see better. So if I have my reins connected well and my fingers are closed, then to make an action on the rein, all I have to do is just drop my elbow. Very small. Drop my elbow. And it's almost like I'm just kind of bringing my shoulder blades together and straightening my upper body. And that's assuming you don't have a super long rein. So like, let's say you're going to come to a halt. You would gather up your contact, so you're not pulling the hand backward. The hand closes the fingers, and then you just drop your elbow. And that would be enough to make contact and make it very clear that the horse should come underneath your center. Now let's say my fingers are open, and I'm trying to ride with like teacup hands, like I'm a soft little teacup. So if I want to stop the horse, then I actually have to pull my elbow and my hand backward to make that same amount of contact. So in the illusion of softness, I'm actually pulling quite a bit, and I'm pulling with my index finger and my thumb, which are a lot stronger than my pinky and my ring finger. So if I have these soft open hands, look at how much more I have to pull to make that same amount of contact. Whereas if I close my fingers, it's my elbow doing the action. And so one of the cardinal rules in classical riding is you finger ride, not arm and hand ride. And so if you have your fingers closed, then your fingers make tiny motions. Like here could be a flexion, this could be a half halt, and tiny motions, right? Versus big. And notice how when I take my open fingers to make contact, my elbows come behind my core, and that makes me very prone to anterior rotation of my pelvis. So it puts the whole thing out of whack. So your fingers, it's super uncomfortable in the beginning. Feels bad for a lot of people if you've been programmed to try to be soft through open hands. And like I said, this is one of my biggest hangups too, is let your fingers get cozy with each other, but imagine there's enough space in the middle here for little bubbles to come through. So you can play with this yourself. If you keep a soft, like this is the, we used to say when we were kids, or what they used to tell us when we were kids, you had a baby bird in your hand and you're just trying to hold him gently in, but you didn't want to crush his little head. So he can't fly out, but you don't crush him, right? Or like you're holding 2 cups of hot chocolate. Those were other analogies given to us as kids. So you hold the baby birds. You don't crush the baby bird, but your fingers secure his little body. Okay? If you open your hands, he's going to fall out. And then the ironic thing is that when you open your fingers, your thumb and your forefinger actually work a lot harder, and they pull a lot more than you realize. And this is true even on a loose rein. So you can have a totally loose flappy rein and your shoulders can still pull, right? So that's because you're arm riding as opposed to finger riding. And when you finger ride, you can ride in very refined, you can give very refined and small actions. You can give very small refined cues that, again, reinforce your center. That's the whole theme of all this business. So that's something to think about, is you have a soft bend in your elbow, but the elbow doesn't come behind your body. So that's kind of the cardinal rule. Elbow shouldn't be in front of your body, shouldn't be behind your body, and you don't need chicken wings either. So you want your elbows beside your body so that you're riding on your fingers, and then you drop your elbow just a little, not like tight, but you drop your elbow to make those motions. Your fingers all cuddle with each other, and you have a soft roof on the top. And that allows my jaw to stay open. That allows my hips to stay open. Look at the difference here. My voice is strained, my voice is comfortable. My voice is strained, my voice is comfortable, right? It's because my jaw and my throat actually close up when I push my thumb down. When I keep an open finger, I'm working with lobster claws here, with pincers. So that's something for you to think about today.